We all work hard for our money. We try to save some. But then what? What actually happens to it? Well, it turns out your money goes on this incredible secret journey. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the Indian financial system and see how your savings literally fuel the entire country. So think about it for a second. That money you just put into your bank account, ever wonder what happens right after you walk away? It's definitely not just sitting in a dusty old vault. Nope, it's actually kicking off a pretty amazing adventure. Let's follow the trail and see where it goes. Back in the day, what did people do? They'd stuff their cash in a gunny sack, maybe hide it under the floorboards. But here's the thing about idle money. It's kind of useless. It doesn't grow, it doesn't build anything. It's just sitting there. And that's exactly the problem the modern financial system was designed to fix. To get that money out from under the mattress and into the economy where it can actually do something.
So here's the official definition, but let's make it simpler. The financial system is basically a giant bridge. On one side, you've got people with extra cash, the savers, right? That's you and me. And on the other side, you have people who need cash, businesses that want to build things, inventors with big ideas. The system is that bridge, connecting the two and making sure the money flows from those who have it to those who can use it to create something new.
Okay, so your money has crossed the bridge. Now what? Well, it hits a fork in the road, a big crossroads, and the choice of which path to take all boils down to one simple thing: time. Is this money needed for a quick job, or is it in it for the long haul? And that one question splits the entire financial world into two main arenas. You've got the money market. That's the short-term sprint. We're talking less than a year. Then you've got the capital market. That's the long-distance marathon for anything over a year. A sprint and a marathon. Totally different races, totally different purposes, but both are absolutely crucial. All right, let's go. We're going to follow our money down that first path, the quick one. Time to dive into the fast-paced world of the money market sprint. So, what does a sprint look like? A perfect example is something called a treasury bill or a T-bill. Honestly, it's super simple. When you buy a T-bill, you are literally just lending the government of India some money for a really short time. It helps them cover their bills, manage their daily cash needs. It's one of the safest things you can do with your money. But wait, how do you get paid? It's not like a normal loan with interest payments. It's actually kind of clever. You buy the T-bill at a discount. So say a bill is worth 200 rupees. You might buy it for, say, 198 rupees and 20 paise. The government gets your money and uses it. Then after 91 days, they give you the full 200 rupees back. That little difference, that's your profit. Simple, safe, and you can get your money back fast.
Okay, so you've got all this money zipping around at high speed. It needs a referee, right? A traffic cop to make sure nobody crashes and the whole system doesn't just grind to a halt. So who's the boss?
That role falls to the big one, the Reserve Bank of India, the RBI. The traffic controller metaphor is perfect. They're standing in the middle of this massive intersection of money, directing the flow, making sure everything runs smoothly. They are the central bank, and their main job is to keep the economy in that sweet spot. Not too hot, not too cold. And how do they do that? Well, they have this incredibly powerful lever called the repo rate. This is basically the interest rate the RBI charges other banks. So think about it. If the RBI raises that rate, it gets more expensive for your bank to borrow money. What do? They pass that cost on. And loans get more expensive for everyone. That cools down spending and fights inflation. On the flip side, if they lower the repo rate, money becomes cheaper, borrowing is easier, and it encourages everyone to spend and invest, which boosts growth. It's this constant, delicate dance. Okay, so that was the sprint. Let's catch our breath. Now it's time to lace up for the marathon. We're shifting gears and heading into the capital market. This is where money goes to work, not just for a few months, but for years, even decades.
And the most famous thing you'll find in the capital market? A share. Now, this is really important. A share is not a loan. It's a slice of ownership. When you buy a share in a company, you don't just own a piece of paper. You literally own a tiny, tiny piece of the entire company. Its factories, its brand, its profits, all of it. And this is how big companies raise massive amounts of money. They take the whole company, the whole pie, and they slice it up into millions of tiny pieces, shares. and then they sell those pieces. So you might have one big investor who owns 500 shares, another who owns 800, and then thousands of other people who own the rest. But together, you all own the company. And this highlights the two main ways you can invest for the long term: owning versus loaning. With shares, that's called equity. You're an owner. You're in the boat with them. If the company does great, you do great. If it sinks, well, you share in that loss. The other way is with something like a bond. That's a form of debt. With a bond, you are a lender. You're not an owner. You've just loaned the company money, and they've promised to pay you back with regular interest. Less risky, but also less potential for that huge payoff.
So if the RBI is the ref for the short-term sprint, who's the ref for the long-term marathon? That would be SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India. Their whole reason for existing is to be the watchdog for investors. They're there to make sure the game is played fairly, that companies aren't cheating, and that people like you and me are protected when we invest our money. So let's put it all together. Let's recap this whole secret journey. It all starts with you, with your savings. That money enters the system and gets directed into either a short-term sprint or a long-term marathon. Companies and the government grab that money and use it to build stuff: new roads, new factories, new technologies. That activity, that's what we call economic growth. And as a thank you for providing the fuel, you get a return on your money. It's a beautiful cycle. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one core idea, which is captured perfectly here. The principal objective of the financial system is to channelize the savings into the most productive opportunity. That's it. That's the whole game. Taking money that's doing nothing and putting it where it can do the most good.
So what this all really means is that your savings, they're not just numbers on a screen. They are so much more powerful than you think. They're literally the fuel that powers our entire economic engine. Which leaves us with one last really important question to ask yourself. Is your money just sitting around? Or is it out there on this journey, working hard for the economy? And more importantly, working hard for you?